Yo guys, welcome back to another video. In this episode, I want to share with you guys a very powerful technique. I'm kind of doing like a play on words with Minecraft, with creative mode, but essentially this is what I want to teach you guys, is how to get into this state called creative mode. It's this mode that's going to enable you to not just live through life following a certain script, and kind of just walk through life like a zombie, right? Following what people tell you to do, etc., but actually being a creator. Right? Co-creating with God, co-creating with the universe, unlocking this power will allow you to basically get the life that you want. I'm not gonna get too much into details because I can spend hours and hours, talking about this subject, and it's very, very difficult to really break down and explain to a degree where it's like understandable. So essentially, this is what I'm gonna get to. And also it kind of touches a little bit about, reality, and what the meaning of life is a little bit, and how reality works. So the way that life works essentially is this, right? Right now, I'm living my present moment, right? This is the present. And then the thing is every single decision that I take will result in a different result. AKA, if I'm gonna go piss in the restroom right now, or if I don't go piss in the restroom right now, whatever decision I do is gonna impact the future in a certain way. Because with me going to the restroom, it's gonna create a new timeline, whereas if I don't go to the restroom, it's gonna create a different timeline, and different things can happen just based on me going or not going to the bathroom. You guys have seen the meme before, when you're a time traveler, kicks a rock, and then you come back to the present and then everything changes. Well, that's essentially how reality works in a sense. Not the whole time traveling thing, because you can't really go back in time, physically at least, but the way that it works is you basically choose your reality based on the decisions you make. Now, obviously that's kind of common sense. It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, But let me tell you guys how you can control and actually choose the right doors, aka the right timelines to achieve whatever goal you want to accomplish, right? And this is where the creative mode comes in to place. So first things first, I'm going to teach you guys about awareness. So in order to get into that stage, that mode, that creative mode, you need to first and foremost be aware of everything. Nearly everybody in this world will be aware either with their inner awareness or their outer awareness. You're either in your head, thinking about something, imagining something, and at the same time, while you're thinking about all these things in your head, you're not really focused on what's going on outside in the outside world. That's why sometimes, like you might be thinking about something, during class, and you're not paying attention in class, and then class happens, right? If you're in school, and then after that you start paying attention again. You're like, fuck, what did I miss, in this class? Because you weren't paying attention. That's because you were aware in your mind, but not outside. And same thing can also apply when you're thinking, your awareness is focused outside. For example, let's say you're playing a game, you're playing a football, or you're playing, basketball, whatever. You're focused on the physical world. You're not in your head. You're not thinking about, oh, what am I gonna eat today? I mean, you might do it, but for the most part, you're gonna be mostly focused on the outside events. If somebody runs behind you, you're gonna be aware of their presence, etc. Whereas if you're in your head, you're not gonna be aware of outside things most of the time. Well, in order to unlock this creative mode that I'm talking about, the first step is you have to not just be aware of your inner and outer, but you have to do it at the same time. In other words, you have to be able to see yourself, be aware of the inside of what you're thinking, and at the same time be aware of what's happening in the outside. Now, this might be confusing, but stick with me. You basically need to get to a point where you can kind of just think whatever you're thinking in your head, and at the same time be aware in the present moment outside of reality, right? In the physical world. One way that I do this personally is I like to imagine myself like in, a video game character, right? Like in the third person, where I'm like, oh, I'm this avatar, right? I'm this character. This is a 3D world around me. I'm like this, I think it's like a good way to kind of visualize what I'm trying to say and be aware of everything that you're thinking, and at the same time be aware of everything that's going on around you. That's the first thing you want to do, is you want to be aware of everything inside and outside of your body, right? Once you can unlock this mode of awareness, then comes the second step in order to get into creative mode. So the second step into getting into creative mode is you need to think about your goal. You need to visualize whatever goal you want to achieve. Now, this can be anything. It can be a long-term goal, or it can be a short-term goal, whatever the case is. For example, oh, I want to get this work done. Well, maybe imagine in your head you finishing the work, like, okay, I just got it done, I figure it out, and then this work is now finished. I finished the papers, whatever the case is, my work is done. Or you can also envision a life, if you want to go deeper into it, you can envision, for example, your future. Like, let's say, oh, I want to envision myself in a nice villa with my wife, this manifestation of whatever your goal is that you want to get in the long run, right? So you kind of want to like manifest and kind of like envision yourself, not just seeing the picture, but if you can, also you inside that imagination, right? Or your purpose, your goal is to get a house. Then don't just imagine the house, imagine yourself in that house, right? With whatever your kids, your wife, whatever you want to have alongside of you, whatever your goal is. It doesn't just have to be this, it can be also traveling, whatever goal you want to accomplish, whatever task you want to finish, just imagine that in your head, all right? And again, you have to imagine that while you have that awareness thing going on. That's the second step. The third step, once you actually visualize correctly whatever life you want, then comes the most important part. When it comes to manifesting inwards, you want to use your pineal gland, which is basically in your brain, but you can kind of think about it, in between, like in your forehead, like in between your eyes. When you're like meditating, etc., you want to focus all your attention into the third eye because that's the thing that allows you to kind of see the inner world type of thing. But in the physical world, right, it's the opposite. You don't want to focus your energy right here. You want to focus your energy in the back of your head, like kind of in the back of your head, your neck area-ish. The best way I can explain it is if you happen to have long hair, right? Like a ponytail, imagine like the very tippity point of that ponytail in the back of your head. That's kind of like the place where you want to imagine, the energy force. And that source, the tippity top right there, is basically kind of like your third eye, but for the physical world. And basically, now I know this sounds really crazy, but you stick around with me, guys, stick around with me. So once you are aware, right, you have your awareness focused inside and out at the same time, you visualize your goal, and then you focus your energy, right, and you kind of like just try and be aware of that back of your neck area zone. You're gonna start feeling like goosebumps a little bit. Try it right now. As you do it, you're gonna start to feel like a little bit of goosebumps and like energy like going up like in your head a little bit. Like just energy flowing up and like energy. And as well as your eyes, you'll see your eyes are gonna start to widen up a little bit. They're gonna start to become bigger and they're gonna start to sparkle a little bit. Now, not sparkle in terms of, they're actually sparkling, but I mean like, you know what I mean? Like the expression, like your eyes are sparkling type of deal. And then you're gonna feel this weird feeling and this kind of like energy boost almost, and that's the creative mode. And at that point, whatever thing you end up doing is gonna be way easier to change what I talked about earlier, the scripts, right, or the timelines. You'll be able to choose a timeline that's gonna basically bring you to said objective that you visualized. And that's how you can shift your mind to not just go with the script or not just go with a timeline that's predetermined for you. No, it lets you choose whichever timeline you want to choose in order to get to your goal quicker. Now, something important then is just to remember that once you do this, it's not just gonna magically happen. It's not just, okay, now I have my goals that are magically gonna appear to me. No, it takes time. Why does it take time? Because in this physical world, it takes time for things to materialize together, right? So you're gonna have to be patient, but the most important thing is you have to trust the process. You don't have to think about the means on what the fuck do I have to do now? Like, what are the means? Like, what do I have to do from a day to day in order for me to get to that goal, etc. No, just unlock the creative mode as much as you can. Keep that goal in mind. Take a little foot forward every day, right? A step forward every day towards your goal about whatever you want to accomplish, and just keep grinding at it. And then the means will take care of themselves for you. Why? Because you essentially shifted your mindset towards the timeline, thanks to the creative mode, towards the timeline that you want to go to. So the end goal is pretty much secured at that point. The end goal that you envision, the end goal that you want to get to is going to happen at some point thanks to you shifting timelines. However, if you don't do this, it's going to be harder for you to really change timelines. Why? Because the universe will give you like a predetermined script, right? Where it's just going to bring you to random events and random stuff. Now, if you can do this, you'll be able to basically point to whichever direction you want to go to. So that's essentially it. That's how you get into creative mode. I know some people might think I'm crazy with this, but listen, guys, I've been practicing this shit, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, like everything that I've ever wanted is slowly but surely coming true. Not all my goals came true yet, but a lot of them have. Like a lot of things that I've been hoping for, everything is just manifesting and coming out of my lives like crazy. So I'm telling you guys, this is very, very powerful. And the more you do it, the more you'll start feeling these sensations, these vibrations, these feelings into your body. So I'm telling you guys, if you guys want to change your lives, if you guys really want to decide what you want to do with your lives and actually be able to control it to a certain degree, this is the best way to do it. Shout out Minecraft, shout out creative mode, and guys, you have to become a creator if you want to do something. You can't stay with that mentality, of hoping that things are going to happen for you, etc., and praying, whatever. You can pray as much as you want, which is good praying, but they're not gonna do things for you. You have to take things into your own hand and and grind it out. So I'm giving you guys some tips. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you guys with the next video. Drop a like before you leave, and peace out.